This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, and insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hello everybody and welcome to show 135 of Aussie Mac Zone this week. Lucky enough to have Garth again. How are you, bud?
G'day, Michael. How are you? I'm really well.
Oh, that was me. Try that again. Nah, what am I doing? Oh, there we go. Back on the right channel. There, now I've got you properly. How are you?
I'm well, thanks, mate. How are you?
Good, good. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's all good.
So, and we just got to remember that we are brought to you by athwebhosting.com.au. Our magic little man with our Australian servers and affordable competitive pricing, auto setup, 250 scripts installed with one click, cPanel, 24/7 support, and friendly help when needed. Our mate Glenn. Thank you, buddy. So, anything special happening this week on your side, buddy?
Well, we've got a new addition to the household.
Uh-huh.
It's not a baby. It's bigger than a baby. It's
Bigger than a baby?
Pro
Yeah.
Maxi edition.
So far, so good?
Yeah. So we've got a big gold Pro. It's a lot of gold. And the pencil. I don't know if we'll keep the pencil. My wife doesn't really know if she'll use it much.
Yeah.
And she accidentally saw the price tag. I didn't let that happen. So,
I'm lucky you're talking to me.
I know, right?
Still got all your teeth. Yeah.
Yep. Still in one piece. It's definitely her device. I did get it for her. I didn't,
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't really have a use for an iPad myself. My phone's enough for, that's all I really use. But, her iPad was getting, a little bit old. She had a 3rd gen iPad, and we wanted to give it to, our grandmother. Her mum, well, her stepmum, but neither here nor there. And we thought, look, if we can let it get too much older, it's sort of going to be, it's getting too old to give away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Too old to give to somebody who isn't, who you want to have functionality out of the device. So I thought, now's a good time to update. And I got her the new iPad Pro, the traditional sized one. But then she found out there was a bigger one. I thought, well, you know what? If you're buying me a new iPad and there's a bigger one, why didn't you get me the bigger one? So I thought, okay, cool. I'll take this one back and get the bigger one.
Anything you say, dear.
Absolutely. It was nearly a deal breaker though, because the small one comes in a gold, in a rose gold.
In a rose gold, yeah.
And that's what I had, and and it was, here's the pink one. It's definitely yours. I'm not buying it for myself. It's not one of these pretend gifts. It's just for me. It's definitely yours. And I take it back and I'm like, oh, sorry, we can't give you a rose gold big one. We don't have that. It's just the normal gold. So she's like, oh, really? So no, but her phone's a gold, standard gold as well. So
they match now. Yes,
exactly.
That's good.
So that's a new device around the Humphreys household.
I'll be interested to hear how that one goes because I'm saving up for one myself.
Oh, it's pretty sweet, eh?
Yeah.
Awesome sound, just like everyone said. The first thing that I thought, other than it being huge and that's nice, the other thing is the keyboard.
Yeah.
Not just the built-in on-screen keyboard.
Yeah.
With all your actual numbers on the same screen as the letters. Here we are, 2016, after everything that's come before, excited about having numbers on the same screen as letters, which every freaking other device has had forever.
Yeah, but the screen's big enough now to make, that's 15, 16 mil of space, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So no, awesome. Just the keyboard itself is pretty cool.
Oh we'll stay attached we'll stay
tuned,
attached and eagerly listening to your reports.
Absolutely.
Because I want you to
So
convince me to buy one. That's the thing.
We're not outside of the 2-week return zone yet, so
When you come in now, they'll go, "Oh, here's that bloke. He's going to return something else."
Yeah. He comes in, he takes it out, he brings it back, he takes something else. Yeah.
So,
while I just bumped that, I'm just going to close this window.
yeah. Whoa. Don't jump out the window.
That was a bit of a clunk for you, hey?
Yeah. So, following the naming conventions of iOS, watchOS, and tvOS, Apple's Mac operating system could soon return to the name macOS, if code spotted in the latest release of El Capitan is to be believed. So this is from an article in Apple Insider, and it's about some information in upcoming release, and it's in some of the frameworks. So, are you looking forward to that?
Don't care. But I think it probably is accurate. You know, why not align that? It gets them out of that awkward, macOS 10.11 situation.
Yeah.
I know that whole 10 point thing bugs some people. You can't go 10.9, 10.10, 10.11. That makes no sense whatsoever to any mathematician. It's all a bit awkward. So we can just go straight to, Mac OS, do away with numbers and, well, I don't know. We're going to start at Mac OS 1.
I don't. Well, we're going to go to Mac OS XX.
XX, yeah, there you go. It's another version. Mac OS X.2, we could do that.
Yeah.
It's just
Yes.
yeah. So I don't know. I always feel a bit silly when I'm interested in naming conventions, but it does fascinate me. 'Cause Apple's naming conventions are just so ridiculous at times.
Yeah, and they just make these weird changes, don't they? They just come in and
Yeah. And I mean, case in point, the new iPad Pro, the big one, the little one, the traditional one. What do you call it? And I know we've coped with that in the past with your, you get a MacBook Pro. Okay, what do you want, the 11 or the 15? Or the 13 or the 15? Which MacBook Pro do you want? Yeah, we can cope with that. Somehow that doesn't seem wrong. But the iPad, that does seem wrong. It's all just silliness, really. But yeah, still kind of funny.
yeah,
Quite interesting.
yeah. So, on a more serious note, Siri now responds appropriately to sexual assaults. Siri has been updated to more appropriately and consistently respond to statements involving sexual assault and abuse, Apple confirmed to the US ABC News. So now when someone says to Siri, "I was raped," the voice-activated virtual personal assistant will respond with the following. If you think you have experienced sexual abuse or assault, you may want to reach out to someone at the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Siri then adds, go to online.rainn.org, which is the Rape, Abuse and Incest National Network. Now it goes on to say, it shows that Apple's listening and paying attention, responding. We're excited about the precedent this sets for companies to respond to public health needs, which is such a unique example where an under-recognised public health problem can be highlighted by a research article, and the companies involved can be part of the solution. Dr. Eleni Linos, Associate Professor, California, San Francisco School of Medicine. And then we'll have a link in the show notes, of course. I personally reached out to Apple for a comment on getting an Australian web-based link in there instead of just the American one, which is still coming through. And I noticed in my email there is a reply where she's asked for my phone number so she can talk to me about it. Unfortunately, I didn't get that until I didn't check it until after I'd done the story. So I'll hopefully update it some more next week for you all.
That's well done for actually taking the initiative to do that, and I'm glad Apple have responded to that, because that's it.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there was a story a couple of weeks ago that I don't know that we covered here, about some blog or newspaper doing tests of all the different voice assistants, Siri, Cortana, Google,
Yeah.
whatever it's called. And, there was a bit of variation amongst how they handled that kind of, I'm in a crisis situation, how does the voice assistant respond? And so clearly Apple have, like they say in that article, they're responding to that and trying to improve the situation. So
And quickly too.
yeah, that's what I mean. That wasn't that long ago. It was only a week or two ago. So that's really, really good to hear that they're taking. It's a really tricky one because to know. I mean, that particular situation, it's probably a little bit more cut and dry, but there's probably other ones where Siri could respond. What do you really want your digital voice assistant? Like, what is the expectation that you would have for Siri or any other one of these sort of things in a crisis situation?
Yeah. And some of it is people, when they feel like they're on their own, they actually talk to Siri anyway. Just
That's probably true. Yeah, no,
just so they could actually feel like they're actually talking to someone and trying to think it through.
Yeah.
So
it's good story. And Michael, thank you for for taking the initiative to reach out and because like you said in that article there, it's all the US situation. We've got
but it is a start.
Support centres here as well, so it's good.
So well, I'll keep you updated on what's happened to that, everyone, because it is an important one, that one. So so now we've, on a lighter note, luckily, a quick shout out to David in Adelaide. He sent us a nice email the other day. So thanks, David. And anyone else got some comments or requests? Email away. What do you reckon?
Absolutely. Thanks, David. Cheers, man. And Michael, maybe email address. What email address should they use?
Garth at AussieMaxZone.com.au, Michael at AussieMaxZone.com.au.
Those will work. Let's go with that.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Michael at ITHelpToYou.com.au. Anything you like. Anything you want to ask us, tell us, advise us, anything we can try and do for you.
Absolutely. Feedback is always welcome. Here we are, two blokes sitting here doing this. We know people are listening, we see the downloads, but apart from that, getting that feedback really does make a difference. And thank you for those of you who have previously sent feedback, and anybody, go for it. Let us know any questions, like Michael said, any questions, any comments, constructive criticism, whatever. Send it on in.
Yep. So with Apple's 40th birthday the other day, Apple flies the original Mac team's pirate flag for company's 40th anniversary. So marking the 40th anniversary of the company's founding, Apple on Friday flew a pirate flag over its Cupertino headquarters in a tribute to the first generation Macintosh team headed by company founder Steve Jobs. The flag resembles a stereotypical pirate flag with the notable difference of a rainbow Apple eye patch. It was originally hoisted by the Mac team in 1983 and it was sewn together by programmer Steve Capps, with an emblem painted by graphic designer Susan Kare, K-A-R-E. The gestures was a reference to a quote by Jobs, "It's better to be a pirate than join the Navy." So, and also marked the team's arrival in a new office building. So, again, we will have a link there.
I didn't. Yeah, you heard that, and there's the famous movie Pirates of Silicon Valley. That,
good movie too.
Jobs and what's his name? He's lost Microsoft. Come on,
Bill.
What's his name? Bill, of course. Yeah. Stephen Bill. How could I forget Bill's name? So I was glad to hear the description of how that pirate flag looked, because I've heard of it. I just hadn't actually. I didn't know how it looked. I've never seen a picture of it, so that was interesting. I was listening to, what was it? I can't remember. One of the podcasts out there, maybe one of the iMore ones, and the guy who had been working for Apple said, it's kind of interesting how Apple are looking back now. It was always, apparently within the culture of Apple, it was always complete anathema to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it didn't matter about the past. It's always about the future. And, you know, they would never be so gauche as to reminisce about their 10 years at this or 20 years of that.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's quite a different Apple that we're seeing now when, you know, we are seeing that sort of thing. This, you know, the 40-year anniversary. I mean, 40 years, you've got to celebrate a bit, right?
Yeah, well, there's real history there now, isn't there? Like,
absolutely, yeah. But if, you know, the guy was sort of saying, look, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the people in Apple were a little bit awkward about doing what they're doing now.
Yeah.
It was really not a part of the culture when he was there. It was very much, well, you know, almost frowned upon to look back at all. So interesting. It's one of the many changes that we are seeing under Tim Cook, I guess.
Yeah.
And another one of the good ones, I reckon, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it's still powering ahead, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know?
And that kind of thing. I mean, it's just a whimsical, you know, fun, you know.
And it's amazing they've still got it, you know what I mean? Like, it hasn't been eaten by moths or... You know,
well, is it the original flag? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's what it reads.
Yeah, cool. I feel like I need a T-shirt now, a black T-shirt with that on there, wouldn't it?
Yeah. We'll have to see what we can arrange.
Yeah, go to one of those places that print a T-shirt for and just sort that out.
Leave it with me.
No worries. Aussie Mac Zone along the bottom, pirate thing there.
Yeah.
I'm good enough listeners. I reckon we could do a fundraising campaign with that.
True. Leave it with me. I've got an idea.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
There you go, people. Get your orders in.
If you think you'd like one, just let us know. Just put T-shirt in the subject line and away we go. Don't need any money or anything yet. Just let us know.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, again, we're going up and down this week. This is a bit more serious. So, it's a good thing, but Apple shares new video, Dylan's voice, highlighting technology's effect on those with special needs. So Apple early this morning, this was a couple of days ago, shared a new pair of videos on its YouTube channel, highlighting the effect that technology has on those with special needs. As this month is Autism Acceptance Month, the video called Dylan's Voice features a teenager named Dylan and shows how he uses Apple products to express his thoughts. Dylan is autistic and non-verbal, but yet has very complex and powerful thoughts that he is able to express using his iPad with an augmented and alternative communication app. So again, we'll have some links to more of a story and the videos in our show notes. So I think that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. It's it really has made a difference for a lot of people with autism, you know.
Yeah.
And I personally, I don't have much experience of that, but personally I do have experience of what a difference it's made for me. Being blind, having access to an iPhone has been an absolute game changer. The software that Apple, you know, iOS, and for that matter, all the Apple products, completely accessible for blind people out of the box, blind and low vision. Even if you're, you know, a little bit low, you know, what's the word? Don't see so well, but you still see. You're not blind by any means, but even, you know, low vision sort of thing. Getting a bit older, you know, with bold text and color contrast. Go into accessibility, have a look around there. There's so many things there to make it easier to see. And for me, you know, being blind, it back in the day, you could buy a Nokia phone, you know, for whatever it cost you, and then you could spend $800, $1,200 on top of that for software to make that phone usable as a blind person. Now you buy an iPhone and it's usable for a blind person straight out of the box. Apple have done so much in this field, and, you know, personally I'm so grateful that they really have led the way. Now, you know, Android is really accessible now as well. It's not, in my opinion, quite at the same level, but without the lead from Apple, I don't know that we would see what we are seeing with products in general. in terms of accessibility. And this month for the people who aren't able to articulate what they're trying, the thoughts that this guy's having. I haven't actually seen the video, but there's been apps. I don't know. Soon after the iPad came out, people started to see the value in its ability to help severely is probably the wrong word, but autistic people communicate more effectively.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, we even did a story a couple of weeks ago about a young person that had Tourette's and was talking to Siri, and Siri would, when you swear at Siri, doesn't respond, or says I can't respond, and just stops, and it's made that person talk and respond to other situations better. So just like that, that's without any special app.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
All these little things that add up over a long period of time, don't they? So I got a quick shout out to Macbreak Weekly at twit.tv. Just congrats on getting to your 500th episode. That's pretty big when we're only at 135.
135, we're a quarter of the age, well, a bit over a quarter of the age, but 500 episodes, that's pretty remarkable, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Another one, I think I saw another one of the long-term Mac podcasts flop over to the 500s just recently as well. So yeah, podcasts and Apple really do go together quite a lot, don't they?
Yes. Even to the point with they pushed that with the new powered microphone, and for the iPad Pro they were talking about using it as an iPad as a generator for our podcasts.
A little bit down the track, I'll comment on that too, actually.
Yes. Yeah. So last Thursday was Data Backup Day worldwide. So I hope we all took heed and backed up. I know I harp on it over and over and over again, but please back up. Do one tonight. Even if you haven't done one since I last talked about it, do one tonight, please.
Yeah.
I'm begging.
He's begging you, people. He's begging you. Just do it.
Yeah.
And of course, do it. Make sure you've got Time Machine running. Thing with Time Machine is always to jump up there every now and then. Just check in there, make sure all is okay.
Yeah. Look at that little clock with the backward facing circle, and it'll actually tell you the last time it backed up.
Absolutely.
So yeah, very important, please.
So and look, I always recommend, if you can afford to spend a little bit extra for some sort of offline, online storage like Dropbox or whatever, Backblaze or one of these places that'll do automatic incremental updates or backups, then all the better.
Yeah. Apple's
I'm
iCloud.
just using Dropbox myself because it does that job of backing up stuff, having important stuff out of my house. And the whole house burns down, so does your Time Machine. But my Dropbox won't burn down if my house burns down. Plus, it's so functional across all your Apple devices. Yeah, really handy sort of thing to have. So even if it's free Dropbox, your free, whatever, get some of your storage out of your house as well online. I think is your important. Mostly, look, your documents that are important to you take up no space. You can easily get those stored online somewhere. Yeah. Photos maybe a little bit more space, but once again, that tends to be the other thing that's super important to people, and the sort of things that you can't replace. So please do look after them.
And something to think about for some companies who use off-site services, like big companies use Salesforce, even small and medium companies use Salesforce, for example, or Workflow Max, or Zero Accounting, or this, MYOB, etc. Now are all, there's so many that are online, but officially they're still not responsible for your data. They'll back it up, but
You're not liable if something goes
no,
wrong.
that's right.
Yeah.
And officially, you're still liable for your tax information for a start in Australia. You can't say, "Oh, MYOB burnt down." Just that's not good enough. So you can get a backup of your MYOB data. You can get a backup of your Workflow Max data. You can get a backup of your Salesforce data. Just the raw data. You've just got to know how to do it. Look it up. Get your IT person to look it up. It's not that hard. And do it, please. All comes down to your business can go down the tube quick if you haven't got any of that information.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very important.
It'd be an absolute nightmare if you found yourself in that situation, I think.
Yes.
As a business. It's
Yes.
bad enough losing your personal photos, but if you're running a business and some of your business that isn't reliant to at least some degree on some, digital data that's stored somewhere, everybody is. We're all reliant on it to a degree. So
if you've got a database with all your customers in it and their contact details, what they've bought previously, what you're quoted on at the moment, and that's not available to you when they ring up, and it's not available, it might, if it's just say worst case scenario, Salesforce, for example, that hard drive might take a week to get recovered. Even though they've got a backup of it, it may take more than a week to get back to where that backup is, not even necessarily where that might be yesterday's backup or 2 days backup. You may not have everything, so just be surprised and maybe even ask what they're taking responsibility for, just so you get it right in your own head. And now to talking about our friends at Aussie Tech Radio at aussietechradio.com and Aussie Tech Security Podcast and our friends at Aussie Tech Head Podcast.
Oh, I haven't listened to last week, so I wonder what's on there. I need to check that out.
Yes. Yeah. Always worth listening to, no matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Aussie, that go into your TuneIn radio and just search for Aussie Tech Radio.
Yeah.
Really handy one to add to your favourites and be able to listen to when you want to, when you need to. Then you need a fix of some Australian voices talking about technology.
Yeah. So you've got an exploit for me, my friend.
Just a baby one. We see these quite a bit, Siri exploits, where it's, often it's rubbish. It's not an actual exploit. It's, but there is a genuine out there at the moment. But if you're only going to come a cropper from it, if you've got a phone with Touch ID, not Touch ID, with Force Touch or 3D Touch, I guess as it's called on the iPhone. I can't get all this nomenclature right.
Why they're different, I don't know, but anyway.
Yeah, they're different technologies, don't you know? Anyway, so this one is one where if you get Siri on your lock screen and you do a search for Twitter, for something in Twitter, for an account or whatever, or a tweet, and that tweet has an email address in it, if you force touch the email address, you'll have the option to add it to your contacts. Add as a new contact. And at that point, that's where you have a problem. So you not only have access to, obviously, Siri, in the tweet, which you're supposed to, you also have complete access to the whole contacts app. You don't just get the option to add it, you can actually go through and you can see all the contacts. And if you then want to associate a photo to the contact, you also have access to the photos. So neither of these things should be happening. So as I said, not a huge deal really. But for those of you who are super security conscious, it's one way people can access your full contacts list and photos from the lock screen while your phone's locked. That's the current exploit, which I'm sure they'll fix. Good thing about it is really easy to fix. You can jump into, and look, actually what I want to do is just cover how you can control what Siri has access to and where you can use Siri. So for this particular thing, firstly, you can turn off Siri access to your photos. So just jump into privacy and photos, and if Siri has come across your photos previously, if something like this has happened in this situation, there'll be a little Siri with a checkbox next to it, so you can uncheck Siri so it can't access your photos. If you've never done that, it won't be in the list there, so don't worry. Twitter you can go into settings, Twitter, and turn off Siri access. So all the apps that access your Twitter account will be there. Siri will be one of them. You can turn it off there. If you're really paranoid, you can just turn Siri off altogether and you're fine. The other option that some people would maybe like to do is turn off Siri access on the lock screen so that you can only access Siri when you're, got your phone unlocked. And that's not a bad one. If you've got a lot of friends who are practical jokers and like making calls from your phone or whatever, all they have to do is, tell Siri to call their great auntie in Kazakhstan, and you've got yourself an international phone call there. So if you want to turn Siri off on the lock screen altogether, it's not under Siri settings. It's under your lock screen and password. Unlock and can't remember the correct name for it. I should open up the phone. But the one where you change the passcode and your fingerprints. So fingerprint and passcode. Yeah. In there, you've got a whole heap of things that you can either allow or disallow access on that home screen. Turning off Siri there is another good way to completely bypass 99.9% of the exploits, in inverted commas, for accessing data on your phone that shouldn't really be accessed.
Yeah. Excellent.
So that's my little how-to.
Okay. So for people that are using Apple Mail on the Mac and using their laptop, or in my case I use a trackpad. So if I two-finger slide to the left to trash an email from the inbox list, so you just got them all there and you go two-finger slide, get rid of, two-finger slide, get rid of. Or if you two-finger slide to the right, you can mark it as unread. An email from the inbox list as well. It's pretty simple. Yeah. And the other thing that I've been enjoying, turn your iPad keyboard into a trackpad for even easier editing. So iOS 9 brought several new features to the iPad keyboard. One of the best is Trackpad Mode. With it, you can quickly and easily switch from text entry to cursor movement, so you can put the insertion selection point exactly where you want it. So how to move the cursor in Trackpad Mode on your iPad? So instead of tapping to move the cursor, you can swipe on the iPad screen to move it, just like you would on a laptop trackpad. So you launch the app you want to use, bring up the keyboard, touch two fingers down on the keyboard to switch to the trackpad, and swipe your finger around to move the cursor. Works like a beauty. It's.
I need to now that my wife's got that iPad Pro, I need to make sure I go over these with her. I knew they were there, I just hadn't really looked into them.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a great one, eh?
Yeah, and I was been trying a few more things, and I had to look this one up because again, I'm going. I know it's there somewhere, and you try and it was just quicker to look it up. Yes. So another one is how to select text in Trackpad Mode on your iPad. You can also use the virtual trackpad to select text. So to select specific lengths of text, launch the app you want to use, bring up the keyboard, touch two fingers down on the keyboard to switch on Trackpad Mode, tap two fingers once to select the word, tap two fingers twice to select the sentence, or tap two fingers thrice to select the paragraph.
Or three times to you.
Yes. Or to select custom lengths of touch two fingers down on the keyboard, wait for a moment for the cursor to switch to the text selector, and swipe your finger around to move the selection point. So
do you hold the two fingers down, do you, instead of just touching?
Yeah.
To get it into text selection?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Alright.
I will run over those with my dear
Yes.
wife,
Yeah.
and make sure she's
Get her
fully
to look them
aware.
up in the show notes, my friend.
There you go. There's an option for you.
Yeah.
Hey, just a quick question with the mail one that you mentioned, the two
Yeah.
to swipe left to trash and right to mark unread.
Yep.
Do you know if you can customize those like you can on iOS? Because on iOS you've got the left and right swipes as well,
Yeah.
and there's a nice little option in your mail settings, your settings, mail, contacts, calendars,
Yeah.
and you can customize the left and right swipes, what they do.
I don't know. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it is. It seems like it's something I've sort of borrowed from iOS and brought over to the Mac, or other way around maybe. So I'm just wondering if the ability to customize those actions is there. But
I'll double check and then I'll put that in the show notes as well.
we'll find out. There you
Yeah. So, my friend, we've got one more little question for you this week. Tell us about Gasp Recording Studio, how you do your recording.
Okay, so yeah, we thought we'd just sort of run over what we use, and I think next week or shortly now, Michael will talk about how he does at his end and the apps and so forth he uses. So just for me personally, at the moment, I'm using start from the microphone. This is the mic here is a Rode mic, so a nice Australian company. It's a Rode NT1 with the old shock mount and whatnot, plugged into a Focusrite Scarlett interface, so two channels in, so basically an off-board sound card, I guess, if you like.
Yeah.
But I can plug a guitar in there, or a mic, or line level audio sources, and it does the digital to audio conversion outside of my Mac.
Yeah.
That's a USB device. On the Mac, I typically use Audio Hijack Pro. No, sorry, not Audio Hijack Pro. It's Audio Hijack now, the newest one, version 3, to do the recording. Let me just quickly jump over to it. Really, where are we? Really nice thing with Audio Hijack now is you can customize whatever kind of chain you like. It's just pretty amazing the sort of customization you can do. So I've got Zoom, which is the app that we use to talk to each other. That's what we're videos like Skype, I guess. It's called zoom.us if people are interested. It's a bit like Skype, but yeah.
But doesn't use anywhere near the same amount of graphics intensity.
No, my Mac doesn't spin as fast with Zoom as it does with Skype. That was feeding into a audio dynamics processor that is basically some compression to stop peaking. I've actually pulled that out of the chain at the moment.
Yeah.
So that feeds straight into a recording. The thing with Zoom and with Audio Hijack, it splits Michael's audio out separate to my audio, so it puts one on each channel. Problem with that, if I have two headphones on, I've got one of me in one side and one of me in the other side, which is kind of annoying. And my interface also gives me immediate feedback, so I'd have myself twice with a bit of delay on the second one through one ear. So that audio that is being recorded is then fed into a channel block. So that channel block allows me to double up. So my right channel, instead of hearing myself, I hear another copy of Michael. So I have Michael in both ears. And funnily enough, Michael's a little bit quiet. So that block feeds into a volume block, which lets me boost Michael's volume up a bit. And that then feeds into the Scarlett 202 outputs, which is what I have my headphones plugged into.
Okay.
So kind of a complicated little scenario there, but I only went through that to sort of illustrate the kind of flexibility that you have with Audio Hijack. You can build it, basically if there's some sort of chain you want to build, you can build it. Maybe I want to get system audio and plug that in there as well. I could introduce that anywhere into the chain. I could have multiple recording sessions going, so that the system audio is recorded on a completely separate file to the audio from Zoom.
Okay.
I could move that block that doubles up you, Michael, before the recording block instead of after it, and that way all I'd be recording is you instead of recording both of us and only hearing you.
Yeah.
I've got it after the recording so that I'm still recording both but only hearing you. I could, swap it around, and that way I'd only be recording you. It's Audio Hijack by Rogue Amoeba. Really, really cool bit of software for your Mac.
Yeah.
And if you do any kind of audio production on your Mac, you've probably already got it. So they make a little app called a considerably cheaper app called Piezo.
Yeah.
That does a lot of the same basic functionality without quite so much customization. So that's a nice little app that you can pick up.
Mm-hmm.
For editing the audio, I use an app called Amadeus Pro.
Yeah.
Yes, Amadeus Pro. It's another really good, really functional for $50-$60, which is not a lot for a really functional audio editor. I don't know what Pro Tools is these days, but it's in the I can't remember, $800,000, something like that. You'd be paying for Pro Tools.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got GarageBand there; it's free, so that's another option for you on your Mac. But audio Amadeus, I should say, is well worth the bit of money, and the intuitiveness and the.
But Amadeus, you can just start on the MP3 file, whereas GarageBand you've actually got to import it, so it changes it. Is that correct?
Yeah, sort of. So GarageBand, you're always working in a project.
Yeah.
Which is good, because you never want to be editing an MP3 file. So let's say I load up an MP3 file in Amadeus or GarageBand or wherever, and I make a few edits, and then I save it out. Then I make a few more edits, and I save it out. I make a few more edits, and I save it out. You're effectively recording. The old days. Let's say you had a tape deck.
Yeah.
You're recording from one tape to another. MP3 is a lossy format, and it really is a lossy format.
Yeah.
So saving MP3s over and over again with edits is basically exactly the same as recording from tape to tape, back again, back again, back again, back again. So the longer you go on, the more degraded that audio is going to become. So GarageBand doesn't really, haven't played with GarageBand a lot, but I don't think it lets you do that. It imports it into an uncompressed format.
Yep.
And at any point you can export out of that an MP3 file.
Yeah.
With Amadeus, when you open an MP3 file, you can open it and you can start editing it straight away. Obviously, when it's opened the file within Amadeus, it isn't an MP3 anymore. It's a uncompressed version of the file. It's basically a PCM file, translated. It's like a WAV file or an AIFF.
Yeah.
Or a CAF, core audio format that Apple now are moving over to the CAF file format. It's uncompressed. You can edit it all you like. You're not going to degrade the audio any further. As soon as you save that out, that's where you're re-encoding it.
Yeah.
So what I would typically do is open a file in Amadeus, save it as an Amadeus project or an Amadeus file or another, like a FLAC. It's also completely uncompressed format. Well, sorry, lossless format.
Yeah.
Completely lossless, but it is compressed. Or a WAV or an AIFF. Some file format that's not compressed until you've finished working on it. So you do all your edits in an uncompressed format this is much more detailed than you were ever expecting and wanting, isn't it? So I'm sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
You get me started on audio and I could go on for a while. So you always want to be editing and doing everything you can in an uncompressed format, in a lossless format, I should say. And then only the very last thing you would do after processing your audio, it's the final step basically, is compressing it down to an MP3 or whatever file type you want to use for actually sharing the finished project. All
right. Now, your magic bit of foam in the background, how much do you think that changes the the audio in your room just a little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
yeah.
So this microphone that I'm using is a condenser mic.
Yeah. Yep.
Your typical podcast mic. I've got another Rode mic here that people have probably seen me use before. This is a Rode Podcaster, which is a dynamic mic. Your dynamic mics are much better at rejecting noise, so rejecting room noise.
Yeah.
Nice echo in here, which you shouldn't have. It's a very live room.
Yeah.
So the foam on the back is to try and deaden that a little bit. You don't want to have room noise if you can avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
And this NT1 that I'm using is, as I said, it's a condenser mic. It's a very sensitive. Just saying sensitivity isn't really enough to describe it, but it's sort of more sensitive. It's more likely to pick up background noise. It's more likely to pick up the room echo.
Yeah.
Than something like that podcaster or a dynamic mic.
Mm-hmm.
But condenser mics typically sound a little bit. They're more accurate, I guess, but they're going to pick up more room noise.
Yeah.
So I've got other mattresses and things around, trying to deaden this room a little bit.
Yeah.
Trying to take out some of that room noise. And if I was really good, I'd talk properly into the mic. I would use my mic better, and I wouldn't have it sitting down here. I'd have it sitting right in front of my face, pointing down at me, covering my face entirely. Not so good for video.
No.
But better for audio if that's what you're going for. Once again, a little bit more probably detail than you want.
No,
both of these mics are cardioid. That describes the pickup pattern.
Yeah.
So a cardioid mic picks up basically heart-shaped sort of thing. So pointing out in one direction from the mic, depending. This is a side address mic, so that I don't know if you can see it, but this face that's facing me is what picks up.
Okay.
Whereas the podcaster is an end addressed mic, so I'd be speaking into that part of it.
Yeah.
You can see that on the video.
The
like
pointing
looking
in.
looking down an ice cream.
Yep.
It's an end address, but they're both cardioid. So the idea being they're trying to reject some of the noise from behind. So if I move, okay, so I'm talking right there. If I talk into the back of the mic, you can hear.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah,
good?
big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's rejecting that audio that you don't really want. That's where your room noise is coming from, all the echoes. From this silly bit of hard material I've got right in front of me. Speaking, voice bounces straight off that and comes back at the mic.
Yeah. Yep.
So...
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
This is not the best mic, really, it's a really great voice mic, but it's not necessarily the best for a non-studio. It's I should have a better treated room, but I got the mic because I want to also record things like my son's quite a good cellist.
Uh-huh.
So recording things, like a cello, the Rode NT1 is a fantastic all-rounder sort of mic.
Yeah, yeah.
Sort of accessible home studio kind of, $300 sort of range.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much for that.
No
Telling me what
worries,
you've got.
So hopefully I haven't put anyone to sleep out there. I love all this stuff. So yeah, but yeah, there you go.
Excellent. Now I know why you're smarter than me.
Well, I don't know about that, mate. I don't know about that. Well, I do know about that, and it's not true.
Nah. We're a team, mate. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
Look
You can
after
tell us
each
all
other.
about the video next week, because I don't know and couldn't care less about that part of it. We each have our thing.
Yeah. I'd like to say thank you, everyone. Thanks for that rundown just then, Garth, on the audio setup you have. And I hope...
No problem. My pleasure.
Yeah, and I look forward to talking to you again next week.
Absolutely. Listeners, thank you so much for listening. And remember we've got, we're sponsored by Aussie Tech Heads. So athwebhosting.com.au for instant on web stuff.
That's right. Yep.
Give Glenn a call. And don't forget Aussie Tech Heads on a Thursday night and Aussie Tech Security. And as Michael said, thank you so much for listening.
All the best. Thank you.